time for the MD and Chef Team Show.
Let's go!
The content in this show is for informational purposes only. It is not intended for medical advice. It does not take the place of medical advice or treatment from a physician or health professional. Listeners and viewers should consult their own doctor or a qualified healthcare professional for specific health and wellness concerns and questions. And now, let's start the MD and Chef Team Show.
Hello and welcome everyone to the MD and Chef Team Show. I'm Nutritional Chef Michael along with my beautiful hottie bride.
Oh, me?
Yes, you. You're Dr. Isabel from Doctor on a Mission.
Hello, everybody. So excited that you're here with us today. Oh my gosh, we've been waiting a long time to talk about this today, huh?
Have we?
Yes, we have.
That's a good topic today.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, babe, why should people stay here and listen to what we have to say and share?
Well, besides having some fun when we learn, which is very important, that's the best way to learn, having fun, is here at the MD and Chef Team Show, we're all about helping you to learn to live a happy, vibrant life until your last breath.
Yes.
So that those last years are some of your best years, not that we're just limping to the finish line. We want to be sprinting to the finish line, and when we're done, boom, off to heaven we go.
I wanted to say something. The other day I was doing a little bit of scrolling, and I saw this 100-year-old man who won the world's Guinness World Record for being the best in weightlifting. I think he might have been the only one. But he was definitely muscular at 100. So
100 years young and healthy.
Anything's possible. And that's what we're here for. Is just have fun and come along with us and learn how to live your best life.
Yeah.
Until your last breath.
So we're here having a conversation as friends. So just know that wherever you may be watching this, the comments are open so you can ask questions as we go. If we can answer them at the time, we will. Suggestions, comments, questions, whatever's on your mind, jump into the conversation. Just let us know where you're coming in from, where you're watching it, what part of the world, what time of the world it is for you, because it's a big world
It's
out
a
there.
big world, but it's small because of the internet.
And it's small, because
Yeah.
here we are,
Yeah.
talking to everybody around the world. Hey, and if you catch us on replay, if you would please put a hashtag replay in it as you watch it on replay. That lets us know you were in there in the replay. And again, give us some comments, suggestions, because we read them all. We are here for you.
Yes.
So, my dear,
Yes.
I know that you are just, as the saying goes, salivating to bring this wonderful information out there to everybody. What do you got today? What's the title of today's show?
Well, we've broken it down into 3 big parts. The first part is talking about lightness, from darkness to lightness, the restorative power of deep sleep for our mental well-being. That's the first part. Then the second part is about relationships, right?
Relationships, and the second part we'll get to, because we feel we can. 45 years of being together, we've learned a few things. We're still learning many things.
Oh, yeah.
Through the ups and downs, and we'll be talking about the beginning of love and just honoring the beginnings of love, whatever that may be for you.
And then the third part is inspiration. And the big topic that I've put together with God is God and addictions, and what God has to say about addictions. Because you know what? I just learned that I had a huge addiction within the last year that I want to share with you and just teach you, let you know how much God loves you and how he can help you break that addiction. Who knew I had that addiction, right?
We shall be talking about
At
it.
65, I realized, holy moly, I had a
Holy moly.
holy moly, and I'm working to break those chains. So
We got a jam-packed show today. As always, so our first part, we're going to get into darkness to light, the restorative power of deep sleep for mental well-being, brought to you by your Dr. Isabel MD here at
Yes.
Doctor on a Mission. All righty, my dear.
take it away.
Take it away.
Okay. Well, I'd like for us to talk about the importance of mental well-being and sleep. Now, this is something that was not taught to me in medical school. In medical school, all I was taught is take a pill, go to sleep, and you're only allowed to have it for a couple of weeks. And then after that, you're on your own because we don't want you to get addicted. That's pretty much the education I got on sleep. But if you're not paying attention to your sleep, I want to shine the light on that so that we can reveal to you the darkness that can occur if you don't pay attention to your sleep. And this is not just going to be about, go to bed early stuff. I promise you, we're going to go in and look at how we can do this together, only because of what I have gone through. Oh, man. But I'm glad I went through it because now I can help you avoid the mines.
You mean you're speaking from experience?
Yeah, just a lot.
Not just as a medical doctor, but as a human being with experience?
Yeah, just a lot of experience.
Okay.
Painful experience that I don't want you to go through.
And that's where we learn our most, in those yucky times. We learn.
I know, we learn the most, yeah. I know. So we're going to be diving in to protect your mental health so that you show up sharper for your day, okay? Instead of showing up dull. I want to ask you, be honest, how many hours did you sleep last night? Just go ahead and drop it in the comment section below. Don't worry, we're not going to shame you, just so we know how many hours you slept last night. So let's talk about your brain on no sleep versus deep sleep. So lack of sleep affects your amygdala. And your amygdala is part of the back, it's in the middle of your brain. And the amygdala is your emotional center. And it feels and it experiences fear. And when we have poor sleep, your amygdala goes nuts. It gets super scared, like, oh my gosh, I can't sleep because something bad's about to happen. And when your amygdala is stimulated in that way, it stimulates other parts of your body. Your adrenals. It tells your adrenals, get ready for warfare. And so you got cortisol hormone, adrenaline hormone, and norepinephrine hormone. All these hormones that are like, danger, danger, danger. Oh,
Yeah.
babe, this is bringing back terrible memories, but that's okay. We got to do it.
Well, yes, even as you're saying, like, danger, danger, trying to sleep. Imagine trying to sleep with that going on in your head. Oof.
Yeah. And I can only relate to a story that happened to me in 2013. In 2013, I was very dissatisfied with medicine. My patients weren't getting any better. And I just said to Michael, I said, babe, I want to give away private practice and I just want to start teaching people how to prevent and reverse disease and give them hope that they can take control of their health. And so we both agreed that I was going to give away private practice, continue being a medical doctor, but just doing it differently. And so in 2013, we started Doctor on a Mission, our brand, our website. And okay, yay, we're going for it. I'm a doctor, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and now I'm a brand new entrepreneur.
I'm stepping away from a salaried contract, kind of supposed security, all that stuff, into the entrepreneurial world, unknown security.
And a year later, the business wasn't taking off as fast as I thought it was going to be. And so I started getting very, very anxious. And so when I get anxious, I don't sleep. And when I don't sleep, I stimulate my amygdala. And my amygdala is like danger, danger, danger. And so what happened was I ended up not sleeping for 17 straight nights with only but 2 to 3 hours every night. And by the end of that 17 days, I was ready to take my life. I had tried to take my life. I had come to the end of myself. So I truly understand what it's like to not get sleep and the dangers of not prioritizing your sleep. I didn't know the importance of sleep in 2014. I really didn't. That was only 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was 54. So I was not only that, but I was also perimenopausal, menopausal. So, oh my gosh.
It was a perfect storm.
It was a big storm, yes.
Yeah.
So please remember that you are not lazy if you need sleep. You are human first. And remember, not making sleep your priority is making you fast track towards anxiety. And if you are experiencing anxiety and you go to the doctor, a conventional medical doctor, because that's how I was trained, medical school, then all we have in our back pockets are pills, our pharmaceuticals, our sleeping tablets, our antidepressants. And yeah, they can work for a period of time. And yeah, I took them. They helped me. But I've learned to come off them safely. And now I'm here teaching you how to make sleep your priority, because it's so important for your mental health. Let's talk about the connection between mental health and sleep. I have this picture in my mind that we're going to be putting on the website for our Healthy Brain Club 6-week program coming up next year in 2026. But it's the picture of your brain, and on top of it says mental health starts with brain health. And there are 6 pillars that are very important for your brain health. And so we're talking about the one pillar, sleep, okay? So mental health starts with sleep. Mental health starts with sleep, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I think I've emphasized that enough.
Yes. So,
mental health starts with sleep.
Well, it's just like when you're building a foundation of a house, there's pillars, there's foundation, there's pillars to that foundation. And this is one of the major pillars, which is sleep. You know, in a house, a lot of times when you hear of people talking about remodeling and redoing a house, they look at certain areas where they want to expand a room or change a room, and then they have a load-bearing beam or a load-bearing wall or something that, well, we can't move that because then everything's going to collapse. Well,
Right.
Sleep is one of those load-bearing pillars, one of those load-bearing beams
that you
of
can't
good
move.
mental health that has to be strong. You can't just say, well, just take that out. That doesn't matter.
Good, Ben.
No, the whole house of mental health will collapse. But that load-bearing beam of sleep is not optimal, shall I say.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we put that in the notes.
Put that in notes.
Put that in your notes
It's
so
a
you can add it on.
load-bearing beam and mental health.
Yeah. And your mental health is your performance. I mean, if you've got poor mental health, you're going to make dumb decisions. That's just the bottom line. So let's start looking about how deep sleep helps our performance. There's a couple of things that happen. One, when we are sleeping, our brain is detoxifying all these toxins that we've been accumulated throughout the day. You see, in this world, the world is very polluted, and the food that we're eating is not very healthy. And so there is this layer in our brain called the blood brain barrier, and they've got holes in it. So whatever in our blood will go into our brain, and it's our brain's responsibility to clean things out. Your brain has a toilet system called the glymphatic system.
Yeah.
And
I
it
know.
needs to flush
Yeah.
all that junk, because guess what happens to a toilet if it doesn't flush the poop and the pee? It overflows and it gets concentrated in your brain, and your brain does not give you good performance. Do you get the picture?
Yes.
Just drop a yes or
It's
a
not
no.
a pretty picture.
Watch them drop a
I
poop.
got the
Watch
yeah.
them drop a poop emoji
Yeah.
on there.
Hello, poop emoji coming, incoming, poop emoji.
So that happens. So during sleep, we actually are cleaning our brain. Our brain is detoxifying for us. We don't have to think about it. It's automatic. And that's what sleep does. And just an aside, and I will repeat this later on today, that make sure that you're sleeping on either your left or your right side, because that's when your glymphatic system, your toilet system in your brain, works the best. Now, I love sleeping on my belly. I think that's just the way Mom put me right from the beginning. So I have to make sure I'm sleeping on my right and my left.
Yeah, see, I love sleeping on my back. I need to make sure that I'm on either side, because I notice when I am on my back, then I snore.
That's
it
right.
just happens every time.
That's right.
Because I'm kind of like, with my head down when I lay on my back.
Yeah.
That's my...
So sleep on your side.
Yeah.
As much as you can. Another thing that happens in our brain to improve our performance is it resets our mood. We can go to sleep feeling really stressed out and feeling overwhelmed and hopeless. However, if we've got a good night's sleep, it can change our mood. It can give us I can do this. I know I can. Why? Because your brain had time to reset your mood and say, look, you got this. Just rest. It's time to rest. That's why we're supposed to be sleeping 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because our brain needs that to get reset. You know that, that saying, just sleep on it? It's really very, very true. How many times have you heard somebody say, oh, just sleep on it, and you do go to sleep, and you wake up feeling, oh, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
What was I so worried about when I went to bed? Oh.
Yeah. Or even the solution comes to you maybe in your dreams or overnight, or you wake up and all of a sudden whatever you couldn't solve the day before,
yeah,
you wake up and it's like, oh, I got the solution. Here's what we'll do.
Yeah. And that happens while we're sleeping.
Yeah.
Solutions come to us while we're sleeping. I'll talk about that in just a few moments too. So, and then also it helps you here it is. So during your sleep, what happens is your brain is able to file. Your brain is able to file. Hi, Rubio. Your brain is able to file thoughts that are important. So if you had a thought that was like, oh, this will help me figure this out, well, while you're sleeping, your brain will go, okay, we're going to take that thought, we're going to file it because it's going to be important. However, if it's thoughts that are not important, then your brain just says, flush it. We don't need that thought. So that's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solutions come in the morning.
And it also gives you your edge back. So the 5 things that your brain does to help improve your performance while you're sleeping, it helps you detox, it helps you cope with stress, helps you reset your mood, it helps you file important thoughts, and it also gives you your edge back. How many more benefits do you want? What else can I give you? Those are 5 different pills that I want you to take so that you can consider your sleep to be very important. I know that when I have a bad night's sleep, I wake up very titchy. I'm sorry, babe.
Titchy. That's an interesting word.
Titchy. Titchy's like, well, or like I felt like I slept on a bed of nails. You know, the tossing and turning. And you know when I've had a poor sleep because I try really hard not to move around in bed, but I do. I'm up and I got my head down at one end of the bed. Okay, that's not working. Then I'll go back to the regular side or I'll switch sides or whatever. And I try to be as quiet as possible. But every morning, Michael's like, you didn't sleep very good. How did you know?
Sometimes I can tell. I'll wake up and I'll see this twisted pretzel in bed, and it's like, okay, I was like, well, that was probably not so good, but hey.
Yeah, so that's a bad night's sleep. And it's all my fault because I did not prioritize my sleep beforehand. I am responsible for the way I sleep.
Okay. All right. So you're being transparent and being honest about
Totally.
it. Well,
totally.
Of course you are.
Yes, of course. And so just keep in mind, I have a point here that I want you to remember. And remember that rest isn't a weakness. It's a strategy to succeed. You're not a weak person. You know, so, oh my gosh, in medical school, we were real go-getters if we only slept 2 or 3 hours a night, you know, and just crushed it the next day on our 36-hour shift. It's just, it was just such a bad habit.
And that's a big
to get into us because then we become doctors and then people come to us. I'm not like this anymore. People would come to us and say, I'm not sleeping well. I only slept 5 hours. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but this is how I was in the past, okay? I'm not like this anymore. I'd be like inside of myself, oh, please, get a grip and toughen up. But I'm not like that anymore. So I want you to know that sleep is mental recovery. It's so important to get you ready for the next day.
And Rubio's mentioned they started doing the drink a big glass of water right when he wakes up, and we had mentioned that, of course, and it's all out there, and it's working great for him. So congratulations, Rubio, on taking some great advice. Yeah, I mean that's just to shock the system. Well, not shock the system, but you're rehydrating the system because you can look this up online, of course. But we dehydrate during the night, and we need to hydrate right away, and we don't hydrate with coffee or a black tea or something like that in the morning. We need, or a Coca-Cola or whatever it may be. We need to hydrate with water as soon as we wake up because that hydrates all our body systems and hydrates the brain.
Speaking of hydration,
yes,
let's talk about how to optimize our sleep because that's when we wake up.
Yes.
Yeah, after a good night's sleep.
Yes.
Let's talk about before we go to sleep. I was trying to do a segue.
Yeah, it's a good segue. So that's the after. Let's
it was
go
a little bumpy.
It was the bridge. It was a cobblestone bridge. You bumped across the bridge.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's look at. I'm going to be landing the plane here soon about sleep and our mental health. So let's talk about getting ready for sleep to have optimal sleep. And it really starts 3 hours before you're ready to go to sleep. So what happens? 3 hours before going to bed, no food, no alcohol. And the reason we don't drink alcohol is because alcohol affects our REM sleep. And our REM is our deep sleep. And REM is where we have dreams. REM is where we take new information that we've learned in the day and it gets filed into the long-term file. So new important information gets filed into long-term. And that's why people with dementia who have poor REM, their short-term memory is terrible because it's not getting filed. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Really cool.
Yeah. And then no hot chocolate. Chocolate's got caffeine. That will wake you up. No green tea. That's got caffeine. No black tea because that's got caffeine. That's 3 hours before going to bed. And then so that's 3 hours before you go to bed. Did you want to add anything?
No, you go ahead.
All right.
Keep going.
Then 1 hour before going to bed, you don't want any screens. Just get away from the screens because the screens of any type, cell phone, iPads, computer, TV. It stimulates the back of your brain, and it gives that light in the back of your brain, and it tells you, wake up, we're not going to bed. But if you don't have that light stimulating in the back of your eyes, then your body's like, it's time to get ready for bed.
And that to do with melatonin?
Yes, it does have to do with melatonin. Do you want to do the melatonin
No, you
dance?
go ahead.
No, please. Go ahead and
What,
do the melatonin.
circadian rhythm?
Go ahead and do the melatonin dance.
The melatonin dance.
He loves
Well,
this
it's
part.
just melatonin and the natural circadian rhythm that our Creator has given us. And what's happened is, as soon as the light bulb came around, society's changed, and we used to have a natural sunrise and sunset. Our bodies would create melatonin at nighttime. It's a hormone that's like the sleep hormone. At nighttime, when there was a sunset and it would start to be created by the body, it realized, okay, time to kind of quiet down and go to sleep. And then in the morning, it is released and it's dropped. And when sunrise comes, and away we go. So it's a natural rhythm, natural circadian rhythm.
So just to recap that picture, when the sun goes down, the melatonin goes up. The sun, the light going into the back of your eye, the screens going into the back of your eye. The sun's going down, melatonin, your sleep hormones going up, and saying, time to go to sleep, time to go to sleep. And then when the sun comes up, the melatonin goes down, and your body's like, time to wake up, time to wake up. Okay, take it away. You're dancing
and without all that was before we had lights and things going on.
Right.
And now in today's society, with everything we got going on, and we have to trick our brain into that sunset, because we got all this stuff going on, and lights and TVs and screens and everything that's happening, and the brain is still stimulated, and it's like, well, when sunset? So we've got to create a sunset of our own in our environment, so we can get it back into that circadian rhythm and get that circadian rhythm going. So we start to increase that melatonin. We create our own sunset an hour before bedtime.
And a lot of people don't know this stuff.
No,
they don't know the hygiene.
They're doing everything, go on the phone, this and that, cell phones happening, talking, scrolling, doing, everything's going, notifications happening, and then boom, turn it off, go to bed, lay down, and they're like, why am I
can't go to sleep, I'm too
struggling?
awake. Yeah, right.
Well, that's why. Or even maybe they do fall asleep, but then a couple hours later wake up and be like, boom, well, because everything's still kind of turned on.
Right.
And so we have to learn to trick our brain into that natural circadian rhythm by what we do an hour before bedtime.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
So.
Another thing that's important to do is write down what you need to get done tomorrow. Let's see, is having a fan on for air and sound good or bad when sleeping? It's considered as white noise, and a lot of people sleep really well with it. Rubio, great question.
Yeah. I know.
So if that helps you, definitely use it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that maybe need like the sounds of waves, or just something quiet or silent, just that white noise going in the background to help them to fall asleep. That for some people that works beautifully. So that's not necessarily a stimulating thing.
No.
That's actually a soothing thing. It's almost like singing a lullaby to a baby. It's something soothing. If that white noise soothes you, why do you get on a plane on a long haul?
Oh, I fall right to sleep.
Making that, and you're kind of like, or kids in a car, they can't get them to sleep. So let's put the kids in the car and go for a drive. Boom, all of a sudden they're out.
I know.
It's that white noise background. So if that works for you, fantastic.
Or when we go for a long drive, a couple hours, I'm like, okay, I'm wake me up.
My baby is out.
Another thing to do 1 hour before going to bed is write down everything you need to get done the next day, so you're not thinking about it in bed, going, oh my gosh, I got to get this done. Nope, you already know that you've got it written down, okay? Then you want to do your skincare, your teeth, floss, take a shower if you do, take a bath. And if you take a bath, magnesium sulfate crystals are really good to put in the water. Oh, magnesium is so good for your joints. It helps you calm down. Oh, I just love it when we have time to do that. And it's 3 cups of magnesium sulfate per person in the tub. So if you've got 2 people, it's 6, right, babe?
Well, aren't those cups though half cups, or is that a full cup?
That's a full cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Why? How many are you putting in? 12 of those?
No. What you said. I was
Yeah.
just wondering if they're
6,
half cups or a full cup.
Yeah. So that's that.
That's a learning show for me too.
Yeah. And then it's bedtime. So bedtime means it's time to turn off the router. Why do you want to turn off the router? Because if you don't turn off the router, your house, especially your brain, is like a radio station receiving all these signals, electrical EMFs, electrical magnetic frequencies going through the house, and they're pinging through your brain. And when they ping through your brain, they keep you awake. So please turn off the router. How do people turn off their router?
Usually at the wall.
Yeah.
Just turn the power off to it, wherever it may be in the house.
Yes.
Pretty easily.
And
Pretty
so-
easily done.
Yes.
I
And
mean, we never did it for
hotels?
many years. Yeah, same thing. Well, yeah, but that's different because if you're in a hotel and it's a hotel Wi-Fi, you can't do that.
You can't.
No.
What a
but
drag.
if you're like in an Airbnb and it's in the house and you
Like
can
we
turn it off,
have.
yeah,
We found it behind
Yeah.
the curtain.
yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're in a general public Wi-Fi, you can't do that. Hey hotel, turn off the Wi-Fi. I'm going to sleep, and the other 180 rooms are all going, hey, what happened to the Wi-Fi? Oh, it's that lady in room 119. She wanted to turn
she's
it off.
such a pain. I am a pain. And then you want no TV. Remember, no TV, no screens in your bedroom. And if you do need your phone for an alarm, which we do sometimes, just switch it onto airplane mode and put your alarm on, and that'll decrease the activity in your house. I always like a little lavender spray. You know, get a little glass bottle and put some lavender essential oil in there with a little bit of water and spray it on your pillow, and lavender is very calming. Yeah. You want your room to be nice cool room. So that's 65 Fahrenheit or 18 Celsius. I think last night we were 2 Celsius?
Well, that was outside, not in the house.
It was so cold, babe.
Outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But it did feel pretty chilly
Yeah.
in
It's
the
okay.
house.
We
But
did.
that's okay. We can handle it. We slept well. And then 3 things we do in the bedroom. 3 and only 3 things. 1 is intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
2 is reading something inspiring. And if you're going to read something inspiring, you need a light. And if you're going to need a light, then we recommend the blue blocking LED light, because that's a softer light. And you can also go on Amazon or wherever. I'm not promoting Amazon. I'm not sponsored by Amazon, but just you can go somewhere on the internet and get these blue blocking glasses, and they block any bright light to stimulate the back of your eye. And the 3rd thing is sleep. So intimacy, read something inspiring, not scary, and then sleep. And you want to be sleeping on your side because you're going to be detoxifying, flushing the toilet in your brain. It'll be funny to see what
Poop emojis.
the camera thing shows about that.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the clips.
The clips, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you want 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night as best you can. And then supplements. Oh, everybody asks me about supplements. There's so many supplements. A couple are magnesium, ashwagandha. You can think about doing melatonin. But look, here's the key. Remember, routine is more important than pills. Okay? Routine is more important than pills. And so I'm not asking you to set up a perfect routine, okay? We're just looking for consistency. If you can do 70% of this, I'm telling you, it will change your sleep. It'll be a game changer for you, okay? And so here's something I'd like for you to consider doing. Why don't you, for the next 7 days, implement as much as you possibly can and be intentional about taking good care of your sleep, and see how that just transforms the way you do your life, transform your mental health. And so you're just feeling better and stronger and clearer, and your game is on, okay? So
Your game is on.
from darkness to light.
And as Rubio said, wake up in the morning and have that big glass of water first thing to start rehydrating the system and the brain.
Yeah. It's so funny because I do get the coffee ready, for us, the plunger. Michael and I have some organic ground beans that we get from down the street, and I get the coffee ready, the coffee beans, the coffee station set up, because I'm excited about waking up and having our coffee.
Yeah.
But of course, it's water first before.
Water.
Yeah, I have that water, 500 mils of water right next to the side of my bed, and I cannot get up until I have drank to the last drop. So that is From Darkness to Light, the restorative power of deep sleep for your mental well-being. From my experience, from the research, to help you have excellent mental health.
Beautiful. Love it. And it's so important. Keeping that load-bearing beam of sleep strong in your foundation of mental health.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes,
analogy.
I wrote that down.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good picture.
Before we move on to our relationship chat today, I just want to remind everyone, if you want to connect with us on social media, just look for @Doctor on a Mission. We're pretty much there every day, bringing you all kind of goodies, daily inspiration, insights, fun, little insights into our life, what's going on. And then our website is dronamission.com. Pop on over there. You can learn more about us and our services and coaching and courses. And also there's some fantastic freebies on there, some what's called freemiums, where you can get master classes and some downloads for free that'll really start to help you to build onto those lifestyle habits that'll serve you well, so that optimally you can live life to your best, to your last breath. And that's really what we're looking to help everybody achieve. So @Doctor on a Mission and dronamission.com. Learn more about us.
So now we're going to talk relationship.
Relationship. So Isabel and I always do a relationship chat, because being together for 45 years, we've learned a few things, ups and downs and trials and tribulations as it all goes. So you don't stick together for 45 years without having learned a few things. And
have a few bumps along the road.
And learning a lot every day as we go.
Still.
Yes. So today, I'm going to be talking about, and we will, as you jump on in there, I'm titled this Honoring Love's Beginnings. So this is really about remembering to honor the reasons of why you fell in love with your partner back in the beginning. However long it is, whether it's just a few months or years or decades, as it is in our case, but honor that love that you had at the beginning. Because what we find in life is, we all know there's a honeymoon phase, and however long that can possibly last. But then, life starts to come, and things are happening. We got the jobs, the careers, whether it's children or not, or just life. And we understand that life is going to be bumpy. It's out there. That's the way it is. And what tends to happen is we can get into a drift, and we start to drift aimlessly, where there's a lot of other things that become important in our lives, but we can, and I'm not saying we do, but we can. And I can say at times, both of us have in certain periods of our lives, where that love beginning can drift a little bit because we're getting away from it as far as honoring that beginning of that love
I'm with
that
you.
brought us together, because there's so many other things going on. And so in that drift, we have to be careful and realize that and honor that to understand, well, why are we together? What brought us together? And so what I'm talking about here it's not a failure of the relationship. It's just that we have to understand that it's a natural thing.
It's a season.
It's a season. We come together. It's all the honeymoon phase. And as we go through life, it's about remembering to honor that beginning of that love and what that actual love was at the beginning. And,
I remember.
Well, I get to go first.
No, I was like, oh yeah, I remember.
What attracted you to your partner when you first came together? What made you say, I love you? What made you say, I do? Or whatever you said. I mean, what brought you together that made you say, yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
I like him.
Yeah. And, for me with Isabel, it was because I was more kind of a reserved person. Yes, I could be flamboyant at times, but more reserved. And here's this Spanish woman that's just so bubbly, very sexy. And I was just like, wow, what a woman. This is amazing.
What a woman.
She's gorgeous. She's sexy. She's flamboyant. I could tell that she was intelligent. There was a lot going on.
Wow, babe, really?
And also, as I found out more, I found out that she was working 3 jobs to help her to go through medical school, pre-med, basically. And so I knew, driven, really going after things here in life, but also playful. What I was attracted to was playfulness.
Yeah.
Because we were both in a restaurant, and she was very playful with me in the restaurant, shall I say. And,
he was the dishwasher at one point, and I took a fancy to him, and I would play with him. Like, I'd be on one side and put the water glasses in, and he'd be on the other side, and I knew he was there, and he'd get splattered with all the water, and he'd go, "Hey, you got me wet." And I go, "I know, it's so fun."
So,
notice me. I'm here.
See me. I'm getting you all wet. I'd be like, what the heck
Who
is this?
she?
Yeah. But it's under remembering those things, those qualities. What were those qualities that brought that out? And, as you can imagine, as you go on lives, sometimes what we end up doing is, as we do this drift, is we start to just look at, I don't like the way you do this. I don't like the way you do that. Oh, gee, that's, and we forget about all the amazing qualities and fun and things that brought that original love together. And now, as us humans tend to do in life, we look at the negatives. And the negative
we choose to look at the negatives.
But we do, as human beings. We look at the negatives because there might be 2 or 3 negatives and 1,000 wonderful things. This is like in every area of life, but we're talking in relationships. We'll now start to you do this, you do that, all this kind of stuff, but forgetting about this amazingness. So what we need to do is go back to honoring. And I want to say honoring is not always a big deal. It's not about that most of the year we're not honoring that love, and all we're doing is kind of picking at it and not being that nice. But hey, it's Valentine's Day. I'm going to do something amazing on Valentine's Day and make this big deal out of it. And that's going to cover me for the year, because the rest of the year I can be like, have a poor attitude.
Won't.
So honoring that beginning of love is not necessarily these big things. That doesn't cover the day-to-day not being nice, shall I say,
That's right.
stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
It doesn't cover that up. So honoring is not always big. Honoring is just saying I love you. You know, Isabel and I have a habit of when we kiss, it's a minimum of 6 seconds.
6 seconds.
Because it's been proven that, you know, it matters. And
it stimulates your dopamine, which is your happy hormone. This is not what we're talking about. Come here. Okay, no, none of this. It's this.
oh, that's okay. We get it.
No, come here. Let's show them what 6 seconds looks like. That was a little more than 6 seconds, but
Now,
you catch our drift.
As you can tell, that was
Come
one of
here.
the things that I fell in love with at the beginning. Playfulness, sexiness, the
You're
whole
like,
thing.
no, they know.
I'm like, hey, you know, I'm a little more reserved, but hey, come on,
Let's I just want to say before you continue on, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, of course you can, babe. Is the reason I fell in love with Michael is, oh my gosh, he was so adorable and he was so peaceful. And I love peace. Like, I am attracted to peace. Anybody who's got peace, I'm like, I get stuck on them. And Michael, thank you for having so much peace. You didn't even know you had so much peace, but you just oozed peace.
Thank you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So honoring isn't always big. It's the little things every day that matter. It's the holding of the door, saying I love you. You know, when you actually have a kiss, making it matter. Looking at them when they're talking and put your phone down and look them in the face, you know, and honor that your partner is talking to you. Have all those little things that go on in your day. Rubio's got something to say about this.
Thank you, Rubio. Mwah! Love ya.
Yeah, and so the little things. And that is what really, really matters. And sure, if you can do big things, fantastic, but not everybody can.
Right.
That it really, the little things, honoring and remembering your beginnings of your love and what brought you to that. It's so important because we can drift in life. We can drift in so many areas of life, but in relationships, we can drift away from the beginning of our love and forget, well, why did I love this person? What brought us together? Because when you do remember, I mean, a situation again for us was there was a time where Isabel and I met in Boulder, Colorado, and you know, there was a spot there on the Boulder Mall, a walking mall, pedestrian mall, shall I say. And there was a wall. Sometimes after Isabel was done with school and I was done with work, we'd meet down there. Maybe she was working, I was working somewhere, and we'd meet down there. We'd sit at the wall and have a hug and a kiss. And that wall is just so memorable. When I think about that wall, I think of our original love. You know,
Old Chicago and Tom's Tavern.
There you go.
On the Pearl Street Mall.
If you've ever been to Boulder and you know the Pearl Street Mall, you'll know what I'm talking about.
And Michael used to have like really long hair, and I would brush his hair. I know that was 45 years ago. He's not that man anymore. But I would brush, and he'd be like, "Oh,
yeah, that was nice." Yeah, but you know, so think about those things, and maybe even have that discussion with your partner. Have a discussion time, just sitting around at dinner time, whether you have a glass of wine or not, or whether it's a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever, just sitting there, you know, remember when, and what that does, it just raises that beautiful feeling inside of like, yeah, remember back when and how we fell in love then, and I still love you, and I love you then like I did now, and I actually love you more.
Yeah.
Because of the closeness we've gained through all of life's bumps and bruises, and here we are, and we're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So revisiting that first spark and bring that back to you, make sure that's still in your relationship, and yes, life changes. We get older. Maybe we have grayer hair, or we might not even have hair, us guys, and who knows what's going on. We might have changed our shape as far as our body shapes, but it's remembering that first love and staying true to that and honoring that. And that will really help you in your relationship if you want it to stay strong and vibrant. Because I know it has for us.
Yeah. But it's a commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being aware.
Yeah.
Being aware.
Yeah.
And if you're drifting, come back and honor that beginning of love.
A+.
Oh, thank you. And I got a 6-second kiss along the way.
Oh.
All right, hon. Hey, you got some inspiration to take us home?
Yes, we're going to go home now and finish on the inspiration part, which is I want to talk about God and addictions, because this really opened up my eyes to the way God sees addictions. Now, I used to, as a doctor, would look at an addiction as, oh, you're just weak and pathetic and you have no self-control and, you know. But now my eyes have been opened to the truth. So God has a beautiful, loving way of dealing with our problems, and one of our problems being addictions. Dr. Gabor Mate, if you ever get a chance to read any of his books or watch him on YouTube, Dr. Gabor Mate is a family practice doctor, Canadian family practice doctor, he was really focused later on in his training and his practice into trauma. And he came up with this amazing equation that helps me and you understand why people have addictions. And the first part of the equation is trauma. We all have trauma happen to us. Trauma leads to pain from the trauma. And pain leads to escaping that pain. So trauma leads to pain, leads to escape. And so we all escape in so many ways. Cigarette smoking, pot smoking, alcohol, drugs, gambling, pornography, buying. But there is this one addiction which I realized I had within this last year called catastrophizing. That comes from the word catastrophe. Now, if you are somebody who catastrophizes, you're somebody who experiences a trauma and the trauma leads to pain and the escape is catastrophe, making everything a catastrophe, making everything like, oh my gosh, the world is going to end because of what just happened. And it's really hard to be in that place. And the reason people go and do this, make everything a catastrophe, you may know somebody in your life that does this. They just like pop off at these little things, or could be big things. The reason people do this, and I'm speaking to myself if anybody else, is the reason we catastrophize and make it big and fixate on it is because we're trying to prepare for the worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. We're trying to control the situation. And you know what? That's an impossible thing to do. We cannot control situations. We can only control how we respond to the trauma. So let's just give an example. Go for it. Yes.
Say, when you're using the word trauma, just understand trauma there are levels of trauma. So when you say trauma, it's not just like a relative died.
No.
It's a trauma.
Yeah.
But trauma could be at your job or your career. All of a sudden you find out that the company is being sold and in 6 months they're going to reevaluate all positions, and there could be redundancies, layoffs, those types of things. And now that day, you've just turned into a basket case and a mess because you've taken that you heard about, and to you it's a trauma, and now everything has just gone off the rails because you realize, oh, well, how do I control this? How do I control that they're selling this company? How do I take control? Well, you can't.
Right.
But you're trying to step into that and say, well, I got to control what they're doing here. And instead of that, it's actually understanding, okay, let me step
No,
in.
don't do that. I do that part.
Okay.
All right, I'll give them that prescription.
But yeah, just so you understand, we're talking about trauma. It could be something simple as something happening with your career, your
And I
job,
will
a
explain
relationship, those
what
types of things.
happened.
Yeah, so there's different levels.
So a year ago, Michael and I came to the realization that one of our businesses was financially going to be affected, and the income from that business was going to go down dramatically. And it's just amazing how Michael was really calm and peaceful. And that's why I fell in love with him, and still in love with you. But oh my gosh, you would have thought the world was going to end. And so guess what happened? So the trauma was being the business. The pain was decreased finances, which was going to affect our family. And the escape for me was to catastrophize. And so when I catastrophize, I'm like, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix what is happening? And one, that's very deadly because you can't control things. You can only respond to things. And two is my sleep. I became anxious. I didn't sleep. I was going down the drain, down the loop of anxiety. So here's what I've learned for you. Okay? Because I like to learn from all this stuff.
Personal experience again.
Because I do not want to go around that mountain again. Like next time this happens, babe, I'm going to be like, wait a minute, I know what to do.
Yeah.
And I can laugh about it now because everything's fine and everything's fine, okay? Because God's so amazing. So when life happens, this is what you can do. You can repeat out loud what's happening. You can say, okay, this is what's happening. And then the next part is ask yourself, how does that affect me? How can I respond? What do I need to do? And so with time, what?
Yeah.
Okay. With time, we were able to figure things out. Okay. But it got ugly. I'm telling you, it got super ugly. Okay. And another thing you can do, which I learned from this whole experience, and I will always implement this, is replace catastrophization with God's promises. So let's talk about God's promises. So George Muller, back in the 1800s, was an evangelist. And this lovely man took care of orphans. He took care of more than 10,000 orphans back then. And I think it was Bristol, England. And I don't really know what happened during that time.
Some kind of a plague or something.
Yeah, bubonic plague. I'm not quite sure. But there were 10,000 orphans, and he did not have the money to feed the orphans. But he would always go to God and ask God, please, you got to help us. And the money would come in and the orphans would eat. And these orphans grew up to be amazing human beings. But one statement that George Muller said was, I would have gone insane had I not believed the promises of God. When I first read that, I was like, what is he talking about? Like, this sounds really important. And then God said, look at my promises. And that's what we're going to do. Just look at a couple of promises that maybe you can tuck into your heart for when trauma happens when you feel like you need to escape. And instead of escaping to drugs, alcohol, gambling, buying, whatever you do, maybe escape into God's promises. So the first one I wanted to share with you is God's beautiful promise, and I am totally paraphrasing this, is, look, I got this. I have got this. I promise you. I hear what's going on. I see what's going on. I have got amazing plans for you. Like, you're going to be blown away at what you're going to get if you just look at me. Don't look at the storm. I'm talking to myself, of course. Don't look at the storms. Just look at me. Look at me. Follow me. And everything's going to be fine. And so I'm going to share with you in the Bible, this wonderful Bible, the Message Bible. I like it because it talks like I talk most of the time. And it's in Jeremiah 29:11. And God says, look, I know what I am doing. I have it all planned out for you. Plans to take care of you. I'm not going to abandon you. Plans to give you a future that you hoped for. When you call on me, when you come and pray to me, I'm going to listen. I'm all ears. Yes, when you get serious about finding me and want it more than anything else, I promise you, I will not disappoint you. All I ask you to do is trust me. And that's what faith is. Faith is simply trusting God. And God's really into trust, big time. So that's the first promise that I was like, oh, I got to share this with people. The next promise is God says, I make everything turn out for the good. I know it looks ugly. I know you don't see the way, but you know what? You're not supposed to see the way. I'm God, you're not. I'll say that again.
Ooh.
God says, I'm God. You're not God. You don't see everything. I'm the one who made this world. I'm the one who made all these animals and everything. I'm the one who made the mitochondria and every single one of your cells. You didn't. You have no idea how to do all this. I'm God. You're not. Okay. And so I will make all things turn out for the good if you trust me, if you love me. And he says that in Romans 8:28. And the last one that God gives us is, just give me your problems. Just give them to me. I'll carry everything that's on your shoulders. Trust me. Just cast all your cares because I care for you. And you know what? That has really helped me deal with my addiction of catastrophizing. And so to wrap it up, we've got trauma leads to pain, leads to escape. And we escape by having addictions. So we can escape in one of two ways. We can choose, we control one thing. We control what we escape to. Are we going to escape into the devil's arms and believe him and his lies? Are we going to escape into the devil who wants to kill us and steal from us and totally destroy us? And if we go into the devil's arms during the escape, we're going to feel anxious. We're going to feel overwhelmed and helpless and hopeless. That's our choice. Or we can choose to go and run into Papa God's arms and just believe his promises. We control how we escape, and the choice is ours. And that is God's take on addictions. It's our choice. And that really has helped me. And I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad I went through it. And I'm glad I'm over on the other side. And those are the things that I learned. And I share that with you. And I hope that serves you well.
Good job.
How was that?
Fantastic.
I was like, I gotta talk to them about this one.
Catastrophizing.
Who knew I had a problem with catastrophization?
Yeah. Well, it's come out and now we know. And so it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to understand that. Not something that's talked about in today's world very
Or in
much.
medicine.
Yeah, well, definitely, yeah. Definitely not in medicine.
Because
yeah.
you can't take a pill to make... I have patients who asked me, I need an antidepressant to get rid of these bad thoughts. You know, because that's what we're taught in conventional medicine is go to the doctor and they'll make your thoughts all better. Well, this is spiritual medicine that yeah.
And, you know, and we do suggest therapy. You know, therapy is a good thing. You know, if you've got some things going on, therapy is great. It can uncover some of these thoughts and things that are happening that you might not realize that can be brought out too. So there's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel that's for the weak. It doesn't make you weak by searching out therapy if you need it. You know, so that's also important to understand that too. Well, hon, that's a wrap for today's show. That was an action-packed one. From lightness to darkness and learning about good sleep and relationships and honoring our love beginnings, the beginnings of love in our relationship, and catastrophization, learning how to overcome those addictions.
Escaping
Those addictions. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Been great to have you. If you happen to catch us on a replay, please feel free to add your comments, suggestions, questions, whatever it may be. We'd love for you to like, subscribe, share the show out to anyone you know who can benefit from having the opportunity to watch the MD and Chef Team show, because we're here for you. We want to serve you so you can have a long, happy, vibrant, beautiful life until your last breath, so that you are sprinting to the finish line and not just limping along.
No.
As we see so much out there.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to helping you with your sprint and your race of life right to the very end.
Mwah.
Love you.
Love you.
Have a great week. Have a great day.
God bless.
Bye-bye. If you're part of that 70% who haven't subscribed yet, well, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can come along with us. Give us a like. Thanks.